Good afternoon. My name is Nahom Taddessa from Syracuse, Utah. I'm a third year here at the University of Utah, double majoring in political science and international studies.
Hello, my name is Eliza Randall from Salt Lake City, Utah. I will be graduating this spring with my undergraduate degree in accounting.
We are honored and proud to introduce our 17th president,
Taylor R. Randall.
Can I just start by expressing deep gratitude, humility, and a lot of excitement for the opportunity I'm going to have to serve as the 17th president of the University of Utah. This is an institution that I love, that I care about, and has meant a lot to generations of our family, and I hope to generations of Utahns. So to the Board of Trustees, thank you for giving me this responsibility. Commissioner Woolston-Hume, I'm excited to work with you. Chair Simmons, thank you for the vision and the charge that you've given me. I will take it seriously. Governor Cox, thank you for your kind words. And now for the rest of the story. It's always been a bucket list of mine to sweep the floor at a basketball game. And doggone it, being in charge, I got to do it. There are many representatives and elected officials here today. Our leaders from our legislature, thank you for the enduring support of higher education. To the mayors of the county and the city, we are part of you. We are part of your community. Thanks for being here today. And particularly thanks to Carl Ulrich, a dear friend and mentor who stretches the truth a little bit, a lot. That's why I like him. He took a big chance on me a number of years ago, and that's really what we're supposed to do in education, is take a chance on people. And how about that incredible chamber choir? Could we give them a hand again? I inherit an institution that is just poised for remarkable success. I think I'm the benefactor of the cumulative decisions of my predecessor, President Ruth Watkins and President David Pershing before her. Really amazing. Also, members of our philanthropic community are here today. Can I just tell you, you have been with us for decades. You create our margin of excellence. You create our ability to imagine and dream and do something magnificent with this institution. Thank you very, very much. "13 years ago this month, if I can see him out there, President Michael Young took a shot on a very young assistant professor and allowed me, it was 13 years ago this month, and allowed me to be the dean of the David Eccles School of Business. That launched me into higher education administration, and I will tell you, that was the ride of my life, and I can't wait for another 10 in this job. Thank you, Mike. Yesterday, as part of our inauguration, we had a day of collective action. And what we did is we came together to try to think about how we could make our community different, how we could make it better, how we could show more respect for each other, how we could make it more inclusive. I just want to thank the many people around this campus that took time out of their day to reflect. It's moments like those that are going to make us a great institution. You know, as I've walked around campus for the last 6, 7, 8 months, trying to understand its nuances, I have been completely inspired by what is here. I've also noticed that COVID has taken a deep toll on us. And if we could take a moment just to thank our healthcare workers, particularly those in our own healthcare system that have literally kept us alive. Thank you very, very much. You know, finally, and probably most importantly, I need to thank my family. I practiced this a few times, by the way. So now I'm back, I'm centered. Reed and Marilyn, thank you for putting up with me for 55 long years. You were great the whole time. To my kids and their spouses, Spencer and Emily, Olivia and Jacob, Clara and Lily, you have a father who has a lot of crazy ideas about the world, and I'm so sorry, but I'm grateful. You allowed me to debate those at every family dinner. Thank you very much. And then finally, to my wife, Janet, thank you for taking this leap with me. You have been my partner for so many years, and I appreciate you. Thank you. I would be remiss if we didn't recognize that 27 days ago today, Russia's president launched a brutal attack, an invasion on Ukraine, putting more than 3.4 million people into chaos. They're now refugees. That has come home. We have many students here on campus, faculty and staff, but also it's had an effect on our Russian students as well. And I think we just ought to take a moment to let them know we mourn with you and we pray for peace in this world. Now, the University of Utah has a philosophy. You imagine first, and then you do. So I want to take just a moment and tell you how that philosophy is going to affect my leadership. You know, I think the word imagine is one of the most, powerful and evocative words in the English language. Why? Because it evokes something personal. It evokes something aspirational. And if you listen to its call, it becomes a call to build a better version of ourselves, a call to make sure everyone belongs, a call to be part of something bigger than what we are now. And it's a call to make the world a much, much better place. In fact, every person in this auditorium today probably has your own version of imagine. We have 34,000 plus students on this campus, 35,000 plus employees and faculty and staff. Every one of them, I am sure, has their own version of imagine. Saba Sial was out here just a moment ago, a senior majoring in finance, was named this institution's first Rhodes Scholar in 20 years. Imagine that. But Saba's story actually doesn't begin with that achievement. It actually begins with the imagination of her parents. Her father immigrated here to Utah from Pakistan and became a successful entrepreneur. He imagined a different life for his family. Her mother has a doctorate and decided that she needed to stay home and tutor her kids to make them successful. I have often heard Saba mention and express appreciation and gratitude for the sacrifice of her parents. Now, isn't that what the University of Utah is supposed to do? Our job is to take students and families like Saba's and turn their imagination into reality. So when August 5th seems like a long time ago. August 5th, when I was asked to be president of this university, I started to ask myself the question, how do I really imagine and how do I do? And when you start to imagine, boundaries disappear. Suddenly, things that suddenly get in our way, whether it be the zip code you were born in, your socioeconomic status, sexual orientation, gender, all of those things just go away. And what it allowed me to do is to start to reimagine a university. And when I reimagine something, I form a mental image that becomes so powerful that it looks like a future that becomes so inspiring, so innovative, so impactful that it unifies an organization around an aspirational ideal. I instinctively think about a future that is better than what we have now. I imagine a future that inspires, a future that innovates, and a future with enormous impact. The time to reimagine our university is right now. Why is that? Because we stand at the precipice of an enormous opportunity. Perhaps an opportunity that has not faced us since our pioneer forebears looked at a blank piece of land and said, we're going to build a university there. We are in the nation's fastest growing state, a state that is growing, rich in cultural diversity. We sit in the middle of the nation's fastest growing economy, and in fact, in the middle of our nation's most vibrant economic region, the interior western United States. We are no longer on the periphery. We are in the very center of it all. And we've got to continue to position the university in the middle of that center. Now, when you see growth coming your way and opportunities like this, you've got to make sure you organize around a set of fundamental principles that you believe in. Those here at this university that I heard on my listening tour are principles of inclusion, principles of safety, principles of health and well-being, particularly mental well-being, principles of academic freedom so that we can talk freely to each other, and in this world of a changing environment, a principle of sustainability. So if you can take that opportunity and you can take those principles and you can combine them with access to a broad liberal education that includes fine arts, social sciences, and humanities, what a cocktail. We will be able in the next decade to become a top 10 public institution with unsurpassed societal impact. And to do this, we've got to use our imaginations to inspire students, to innovate in different ways, and to create impact throughout our society. So I've got 3 I's that are part of my recipe. I number 1 is that I want to inspire. I want to reimagine how we inspire our students. How can we revolutionize that experience for them? Why now? Why now? Students on campus arriving today are a lot different than the students that were arriving even 10 years ago. These are digital natives. They acquire, they communicate, and they look at information in very different ways. What's interesting to think about, though, is also the life events that they've been through. The Great Recession, 9/11, the social justice movement fueled by the murder of George Floyd, the COVID-19 pandemic, now the war in Ukraine, existential issues like climate change. These are all very, very serious issues, and they've been involved with them on their digital media in a way that we can't even imagine. Perhaps that's why they approach their education very, very deliberately, and why they envision a future for them that's unfettered by the structures and obstacles of prior generations. So how do we imagine education for them? Well, we have to create a sense of optimism that allows them to use their imagination to transform the future for them, and frankly, as we get older, for us. We need to think about our campus as more than a classroom and more like an experience, a playground where absolutely anything can be possible. And this begins literally by building a campus that integrates learning, living, and the world around us. So I'm pleased to announce the building and construction of a 755-bed educational experience called the Impact Epicenter, generously funded by the Sorensen and Gay families. Thank you very much. This is located near the Eccles Student Life Center, and it's an educational concept that was actually built on the basic idea of our Lassonde Studios, which is a highly successful learning environment for entrepreneurs. In this living facility, we will locate 2 research centers, the Sorensen Impact Center and the Center for Business, Health, and Prosperity. The co-location of these centers will actually allow students to live and breathe social problems ranging from poverty, although we do want them to eat, to social justice, to anything you can actually imagine The epicenter actually will create a destination spot on campus, and it's only the beginning of infrastructure that we will build. We want to dispel the notion and the perception that the University of Utah is a commuter campus. We will indeed build a university town right here at the University of Utah. Now, this revolution for our students won't just be buildings. It will start actually as our freshmen walk in the front door. For students making a choice of college, I want there to be really no other choice, no comparison. How are we going to do that? We're going to integrate our students immediately in our research expertise, put them in the middle of knowledge creation. Imagine for a second 500 students walking into labs and working with molecules that will change cancer treatment, or going to one of our 5 different field sites to try to understand the effects of climate change on the Utah environment. Imagining traveling to Korea to understand issues at the Pacific Rim, or how about learning Chaucer in Canterbury and spending time in London at an extended university global campus. We want students to have FOMO if they don't show up here. And we're gonna do it at scale. 80% of all our students will have these experiences, and it will be accessible to all. We have a new name for this. We're gonna call it Utah Fresh. It's a new student experience, refreshingly different, and only at the University of Utah. Let's take a look at how that might look.
Tons of revolutionary stuff has come out of the University of Utah. Big breakthroughs in science, technology, healthcare, the environment. Now we are revolutionizing what goes into the U by creating a whole new, fabulous freshman experience. Here's a fresh look at being a freshman at the U. You'll do real-world research that fits your passions in everything from the effects of climate change to human genetics and everything in between. You can go immerse yourself in the wonders of learning abroad. Study English literature in England, urban ecology at our Asia campus, or public health at our campus in Ghana. That's a fresh take on being a freshman. You can also join a living learning group at one of our fresh new on-campus housing centers. You'll find students with similar career goals that will accelerate your education and friendships. We call all of this Utah Fresh. It is a student experience that is refreshingly different. Only at the University of Utah.
Are you ready to come back to school? As long as I'm selling, I forgot to mention, and you'll get to go to the Rose Bowl every year. Is that not right, Mark Harlan? All right, that's good. The second I in our recipe is to innovate. It's been interesting to look at history of universities over time. Some say we've gone through 2 basic evolutions and are on the verge of a third. The first was simple. It's what Oxford did, reading, writing, and arithmetic. The second was actually the building of a research enterprise that helped us understand in more sophisticated ways the world around us. The third evolution, some say, will be about entrepreneurship, taking a university and making that knowledge hit our communities and have bigger impact faster and faster. In fact, if you think about the history of this university, we are largely defined by many of the discoveries we've made. In 1945, the U's first National Institute of Health grant went to Max Wintrobe, and he was studying muscular dystrophy. In 1969, we became the fourth node of the ARPANET, which later became known as the Internet. The pixel was made popular by our scientists, and we see uses of the pixel in their businesses: Atari, Adobe, and Pixar. As our health enterprise grew, we began to put artificial hearts in people. And in 1982, a 61-year-old patient named Barney Clark received the world's first artificial heart. Researchers now have discovered many of our cancer-causing genes, including breast, colon, and skin cancer. These are all groundbreaking achievements, but we are poised now to leverage that basic research talent to usher in what I think will be the third evolution at the University of Utah. This research agenda has really two reimaginings. The first is we just simply need to do more research. We will, over the next 7 years, secure and sustain $1 billion in annual research funding from the major research institutes of the United States. This research needs to be closely tied to the major challenges of our day. I want to see the research of Eric Garland on opioid crisis and how to solve it implemented at scale in our communities. I want to see Michelle Lichman's research on diabetes change policy in the United States. I want to see Florian Salzbacher's research on the brain-computer interface implemented through his company, BlackRock Neurotech. That is what we will be doing with the fundamental research coming out of here. The second reimagining is that we have to speed up the clock speed with which our research hits the market, make it faster and faster. We will, over the next 5 years, invest $100 million in concepts that I will call greenhouses. These will bring applied researchers together with fundamental research and catalytic capital to try and move our research quicker into the market. The third I in my recipe is impact. Throughout the history of the University of Utah, we have been at the center of many cultural changes. The State Arboretum, Red Butte Gardens, is located here. The Museum of Natural History is here. The Utah Museum of Fine Arts, Pioneer Theater Company, Utah Presents. This was actually the original soil of the Utah Symphony, the Utah Opera, and Ballet West. All used to call campus home. Now we want to actually dive even deeper into our communities. We want to cultivate community connections, build trust, uproot injustices, and transform the future of our entire state. We must have the goal to be able to impact 3.3 million Utahns and have a presence and influence in all 29 Utah counties. Now, traditionally, research universities have focused on teaching students right here on our campuses, but we're going to flip that tradition around. We're going to infuse interdisciplinary research teams that go beyond just STEM, that will include humanities, arts, education, social work, nursing, the entire university franchise, to turn research solutions into action. In fact, we will rewrite the compact that our university has with its state and community. So today I'm pleased to announce the formation of the Presidential Public Impact Scholars. These are scholars who will be experts in their fields, skilled at translating their scholarship to audiences outside the university in unique and transformational ways. I hope this presents a very exciting opportunity for our faculty. But this isn't the only way that we plan to make an impact on the citizens of our state. For 20 years, University Neighborhood Partners has been at the forefront of working in real-life solutions for the west part of Salt Lake City. We're going to expand that. We're going to expand this to 2 new campuses, one already announced in Harriman, and the other in conjunction with our West Valley Hospital that was newly announced. Over the next 10 years, with these new facilities, we expect to grow our student body to over 40,000 students. A key part of that is actually meeting students where they are, a practical education that gets them ready for the workforce. Our partnership in Harriman and West Valley will do just that. In 2 years, we will launch the Harriman campus. In just a number of years after that, that will graduate 7,000 students. With our partner, Salt Lake Community College, students will be receiving both associate's degrees and bachelor's degrees. When we think about our West Valley presence and our West Valley campus, we're going to invest $500 million into a hospital and community hub. That hospital will need 1,500 employees. We want to take our educational presence there and our healthcare professions, along with Salt Lake Community College, and educate that community to work in our hospitals. When they come to receive that education, we want to help their children get through high school. We want to get them ready for either Salt Lake Community College or the University of Utah as they work through this process. We envision these as true statewide partnerships that will transform and lift a community. So it has been 50 years since an alum of the University of Utah has been president of this institution. And I'm honored to represent my alumni peers in this role. I'm a third-generation professor at the university that includes a grandfather and a father. In 1930, my grandfather Clyde, that by the way is a sheepish young tailor holding a fish. 1930, my grandfather Clyde decided that the job he had in a cannery in northern Utah wasn't what he dreamed for his family. He envisioned a university life that would lift the lives of his children and grandchildren, and his plan worked. I've witnessed the power of what education and higher education can do over multiple generations. I've seen it in my own life. I've had 3 kids graduate from the University of Utah. I think by becoming a top 10 public university with unsurpassed societal impact, we will inspire a new generation of students. We will find faster ways to innovate and improve and touch the lives of every Utahn, and doing so, we will change the world around us. So when I reimagine the University of Utah, I see inspiration, innovation, and impact. I hope you will all join me. Thank you very much.